Hello, everyone.
Hey,
Welcome on your Saturday.
welcome to the party, you guys. I'm
All right.
gonna share this in our Facebook group right quick while we
Yeah.
wait for some people to.
Oh, there we are. We're live. Full effect.
Hold on.
Awesome.
I'm just sharing this in our Facebook group, Freedom and Scrub, so the people in there can come and hang with us.
Yeah. So we are super excited. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are here, please say hello. If you are a traveler, I can't believe I'm saying this because it's usually Kim's line.
You're
You're-
stealing all my parts.
If you are a traveler, let us know where you're at and how long you've been traveling. Hey, Susie, how are you?
Hey, Suze. Wait, why isn't this working?
I have no idea. But, okay, we're going to let Kim be a little crazy.
Go
here.
ahead. I'm sorry. I'm trying to share this
But
in
no,
our Facebook group.
we're really excited about this chat. It's one thing that we've always wanted to do. Kim just giggling. It's very awkward.
I just shared it to like my personal page.
Oh, fun.
Alright.
It's something that we really wanted to do. And what we realized was we actually would tell a little bit about our story before a big training. And so we would like rush through it. And our story is something that we really love. We love to share. Honestly, we'll touch on this. You good?
Good.
We'll touch on this a little bit more, but if you really think about how we learn as humans, it's through story.
Yeah.
That's how history has been passed down, through story.
Mhm.
Kim and I watch a lot of podcasts, and
Every Sunday.
we don't want to hear facts. You can go to Dr. Google for facts, right? You can find facts everywhere. How we learn is through story. So we thought, why not just have this chat, talk about our story, talk about how we got into traveling, talk about our 6+ years of traveling and what we've learned from that,
Yeah.
and what it's brought us.
Yeah. Well, and I think like Erran said, like we listen to podcasts. I listen to podcasts every single day, but on Sunday it's like our ritual that we sit down and we watch a podcast of somebody that inspires us, somebody who's a few steps ahead of us.
Mm-hmm.
And we just love to listen to their experience and how they got to where they are. And it inspires us, it excites us. And we retain that information, right? Because when we hear just facts and it's boring, we're like, okay, cool. But when we actually can connect to what people are saying and their experiences and their stories, that's what resonates and that's what clicks it in, and we can remember it, right? And it brings up that emotion. And so we thought that it would just be fun to share our story. And we love hearing other people's travel stories too. I love hearing how people like started traveling and how they got into it and their experience. And so anyways, we wanted to share ours with you guys. And then we're going to share a little bit about our story and how we got started and kind of what that looked like for us and the decision to start. But then we're also going to share our greatest lesson.
Yeah.
Because there's so many, but we're each going to share one of our best lessons that we've learned over the last 6.5 years. We're also going to share what we wish that we would have known before. And what's the last thing? Oh, our best tip for any new travelers who are just getting started. And yeah, and then we'll open up for a Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, you can go ahead and post them.
Yeah.
And we're going to answer the questions at the end. And I can't see the comments.
I can let you know. I can read them.
It's so annoying.
Yeah. So anyway, for all of you guys that don't know who we are, I'm seeing a lot of very familiar names on here. But we are Kim and Erran G. We have been traveling since 2012. We do travel with our beautiful, now healed fur baby Mimi LaRue, who pops in and out of the trainings every once in a while. But she's traveled with us. We've been married 8 years, and we've been traveling for now 6.5.
6.5.
So we are the creators of Traveler School. We also have the Facebook group, Travel Life Freedom and Scrubs, which is a free group. It's an amazing group. And we do a lot of trainings and stuff in there.
Yeah.
But I did want to add one thing to what we were talking about earlier. Kim and I have been attending a lot of conferences and a lot of cool, like inspiring kind of conferences. And what? I did say conferences a lot. I'm just saying, they weren't like just you're sitting there and like you're hearing like, this is the left side.
Yeah, it's people sharing their stories.
Right, and that's what I wanted to say. Like, people would throw facts in there, and
they'd
be like, "What's your key takeaways?" And we would all sit in a group and talk about our key takeaways. And everybody would talk about a story that somebody shared because that resonated with them.
Yeah.
So leading into that, what I did want to say was, this is our story. O-U-R, our story, right? Everybody has an amazing story, but what we want is you to be able to maybe take some things that we said, apply them, look at them, be like, damn, like I could use that, or I'm inspired by that, or
just entertaining.
Or just entertaining.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's dive in.
All right. So you ready?
Are you ready?
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Are you guys ready?
Anyway.
Do you guys want to hear our story?
Yeah, I know. I mean,
okay, I can't see any of the comments, which really stinks. That's why I don't like this being so far, because I can't see anything. And I love interacting with you guys, and we love when you guys are interacting with us.
I can
ask us questions. Where are you guys right now?
I already said that.
Well, okay, Susie's in, I couldn't see, in Nebraska, which Susie, I've been following your journey of like all your cool places you've been going. I have like total FOMO for all of your West Coast freaking adventures.
Melissa's in Tallahassee.
All right, stenographer, woo woo, stenographer's in the house. Okay, cool. All right, so you guys ask any questions. We are here. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah.
It's not just us talking at you. We like to interact.
Yeah, that's the whole point of these, right?
Sure.
We could just sit in the office and talk.
All damn day.
We want to interact.
We like to talk.
So
let's do the damn thing.
All right. So in 2011, remember we said we started traveling in 2012. So in 2011, we're sitting
on a Sunday afternoon.
Well, I don't know when it was, but I knew it was nighttime.
We were having some wine.
We were having some wine, as we usually did. We were sitting in the beautiful backyard of our beautiful brand new house. And the thing is I was in tears.
Well, we were newlyweds.
We were newlyweds.
Yeah.
And I'm in tears while we're talking. And it's crazy because we had everything. We had our house. We had our backyard. We had made a vision board about it. That Kim's
okay, I have a prop. So here's the funny thing. So Erran, side note story. There's lots of stories within our story. Erran just went to our storage unit, which 7 years ago, we packed up literally everything we had in our home that we owned at the time. And we put a lot of the stuff in storage. And so he just recently went and he's been like going through stuff and bringing some stuff home. And so he's been having fun going through old pictures. One of the things that he brought was this fucking Bobo ass vision board, okay? It's not Bobo, I should never say that.
Never.
This is the first vision board that Erran and I made together, period, okay?
We were in some apartment somewhere.
It was in Summer House.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to point this out because I was literally blown away. We hadn't even been married yet, so like this is us getting married. We wanted a pug, okay, which we had, a house, because we were living in a condo and all we wanted was a house. We wanted
in a backyard.
That was like our thing.
Backyard.
Yeah, we're like, oh, we wanted like to own our own home. Why? I have no idea. It's so overrated. But we wanted to own our own home.
For us. Sorry.
Yeah. For us, it's overrated. And we wanted our own backyard. That was huge to us. That like meant the world to us to have our own backyard, right? And then
we wanted to be in shape because I was a wildebeest at the time. And then what's cool is we have Italy, San Francisco,
world travelers,
and New York, Greece, and then a boat. I don't think I ever wanted a boat.
Somebody wanted a boat. Maybe. We're not sure about the situation. But
finances.
We wanted to pay off our credit card. We wanted to have money because at the time we didn't have any, which we'll get into in a second. But anyways, just looking at this, we're like, holy crap. So we're sitting in our backyard in 2011. All of these things are happening, right? We're sitting in our backyard that we dreamed of with our beautiful pug and a house that we owned. Everything is like perfect, but we were just
Except it wasn't.
But we were just like, something still doesn't feel right. Something feels off.
And that's what leads to me saying that I was sitting there in tears because we had everything that we wanted, but I literally, you know, those times it's like you're going through school and you have that vision. Like for me, you know, it's like radiology school. I'm going to come out and who knows what I'm going to do. I'm going to be working in the hospital. Yeah. And there's these plans, right? You have these plans, but what I realized is we had everything. We had a great marriage, we had a great house, we had a great life, we got surrounded by our family, but something's missing. And so that feeling is frustrating in a way because you're like, am I looking at this too much? Am I not taking what I have, seriously? Am I not having gratitude for what I achieved? And I think the biggest part for me was I was frustrated because I felt this burning sensation in my gut, and Kim did too. And we couldn't put our finger on what it is that we wanted, what it is that we were wanting to go after. But we knew the life that we were currently living, that we had created, was not down the path that we wanted to go. And we felt stuck.
Yeah, 100%. And like at the time when we were having this conversation, Erran had 4 days off a month. 4 days off. He took call, 7 days on, 7 days off. So we had 4 days off a month to like live life and like do the damn thing in life. Worked your ass off. Like the hours that we worked, like literally our life kind of revolved around working, and we still couldn't really make ends meet. We still didn't have the financial means to do the things that we wanted to do, which is kind of like, what, this isn't working. Like this can't be what life is all about, where you work your ass off, you get 2 weeks off a year, and you still like aren't able to do all the things that you have, the desires you have on your heart, you're still not able to do. We're like, this just isn't like the life that we want to live. Not that there was anything wrong with our life, it just wasn't the one, it wasn't for us. It wasn't the life that we were excited about living.
And we built that beautiful life of what, you know, stereotypically you kind of do. You graduate from college, you get married, you buy a house, you have a family. You do. But then we realized really quickly, like, you know, one of the biggest questions, and I think it was one that you asked or I asked or something, but it was like, in 20 years, can you see yourself doing the same thing you're doing right now?
We're like, hell to the no.
And it was like, no, I can't. And so it started us thinking, right? Like I was a young lead of a department, and, you know, so we started contemplating, maybe it's the managerial track or the director track. They were already saying that the director was going to retire in 5 years. And so I would have been manager, they were talking already. So I was like, I don't want to do that. That does not light me up. So I don't want to do that. So now what?
Right. Exactly. And so we're going through all of these things, right? And to like put it in perspective, like we used to literally sit outside and talk and talk and talk. Like this is one particular talk, but we used to do this all the time. And we would just talk about like what we wanted and like what we wanted to do and like our passions and like just things that were like we were excited about. And we would always just be like, gosh, there's more for us here. So we'd have these talks all the time. And so this night we're like, dude, all right, let's just have a good time, right? We were having some wine. We're like, let's just write out, if we could wave a magic wand, like what would life look like? How do we really want to live, and what would this feel like? What would it look like if there were no rules, right? What's important to us? And for us, it was always, we want more freedom, period. I want more freedom in my life to work less hours, not have to take call, have only 4 days off a week, or 4 days off, that would be nice. 4 days off a month. I want more freedom in my life to do the things that feel good to me, right? We wanted to travel. We wanted to be able to do work that felt meaningful. Like we're grateful for our jobs. They served a purpose.
Fantastic.
But like I wanted to do more work that was creative, that was fun, that like gave me a sense of purpose where I could connect with people, right? And like what we put into it, we got out of it. Right? It wasn't just like, let's punch a clock and like, you know, go to work and then
just
leave.
fill the time.
Oh my God.
And I think that's one of the biggest things too, is we even broke it down so clearly that I know for some of you this isn't a big deal, but for us, I literally didn't want to be told when to go to lunch and that I only had 30 minutes.
Like the little things.
If I would come out in Florida and it was gorgeous and I worked near the beach, and I wanted to go to the beach for a little bit, just kind of like unwind and just take a couple deep breaths and come back when I wanted to. Those are the things that meant a lot to me. And so I was like, I can't do this in this current environment. And so that's not going to fit down the road. Right,
exactly. And so anyways, we had no idea how any of this was going to happen, because here we are, broke as fuck, just bought a house, in these jobs. Like there was no way out. We were in debt. We're like, I don't know how any of this is going to come together, but it was fun because we got really clear on like, I have no idea how any of this is going to happen. How are we going to travel? How are we going to go to San Francisco? How are we going to have more time off to explore different things? I have no idea, but what I do know is that this is what I want, and this is what feels good in my life. And like, let's be open to how we can like kind of refresh and rework and change the environment we've created as our life, and like, let's hit restart and do the damn thing again.
Well, and that's the key. That's a key phrase right there. Is again, we let go of trying to force a plan and just said these are our criteria, our 5 criteria, right? That Kim just listed, and we're gonna
more than 5, but
but those were 5 key criteria that have actually stuck with us to this day, of what we do and how we go about life, and what our end goal is. And so, you know, that point was really refreshing. And again, it's funny because we sat out there, we would talk about, like I said, the managerial track. I actually went through 2 or 3 PA school orientations. I wanted to be a perfusionist. We were going to live in Connecticut. We were going to live all over the place. We were going to do, Kim was going to be a writer. We're going to go back to school, like all
we're
these
just
things.
Like trying to go through all the things. We're like, what do we want? What do we want to do with our life? This isn't working. We got to make a change. What are the answers? And we're going through check by check. Yeah. We're like, but wait, it's still the same shit. It's still us clocking in and not getting time off and having 2 weeks of PTO and having to stay in one place and be pinned. That was the other big thing, I think, is like, we knew at the time that we didn't want to live in Florida for the rest of our lives.
True.
And we weren't sure where we wanted to live or what that would look like, but we felt pinned to one location because of our job. Like, you don't just kind of pick up and like, some people do, but like it's rare to pick up and kind of move to a random location and just settle down and take a full-time job. So it's like we felt kind of pinned, and we knew that we wanted to explore the world and to travel. Travel was huge. Yep. And to do all of that. So anyways.
So we had these big dreams, big visions, wanted to travel.
Fucking dreams.
But the problem is we wanted to travel. Kim used to say, like, we're going to plan a vacation. I was like, how? So
we never had PTO.
We never had PTO. We never had the money, the extra money to do it. Funny story, we set this thing, we're like, okay, cool. Every 4 months or 3 months, we're going to go somewhere, like Jamaica or somewhere. And
that's pretty ambitious.
It was really ambitious, but the funny part about that is again, we had zero PTO, so I would have to like hustle to try to find like coverage and then convince my manager that it's okay, I'll just take the time myself, I won't get paid, are you cool with that? And they would let us go. The problem is now we're like knee deep, like, what are we gonna do? But we're gonna go.
We always went because that's what we wanted to do, but we never had the money for it.
Right.
And so one time we went to Rhode Island and to New York City and did this little like East Coast thing. And we came back, and this is like, okay, we're just gonna be so transparent with you guys because that's just like how we are. This is like embarrassing, but this is the truth. So we come back, fly into Jacksonville International.
We've been gone like 7 days.
It was way longer than that. Yeah, it was way, because we went to Rhode Island, then we went to New York. Yeah. Anyways, we go to get our car, right? We had parked our car. We go to get it, and we're trying to pay to get out, and like
the gate won't open.
Yeah, our card is declined, our debit card. So like, fuck. Okay, let's try
credit card.
Declined. Okay, wait. Let's try another one. Declined.
Oh wait, let's transfer out of savings. Oh,
there's nothing there.
Literally had to call the attendant, have a security guy come out, and then convince him to let me like write me an IOU or let me give him an IOU with my address, my license, and I would mail him a check when we got paid again. Most embarrassing moment ever.
And so, he did. He gave us a slip where we could like mail it in.
Yeah.
But it was like that was one of our lowest points of just like, what the heck are we doing?
Right.
Like we worked so hard and we just like can never.
Right. And again, like we were working really hard. There was some choices that we made, obviously. But you don't get paid.
You shouldn't have bought that damn house.
You shouldn't have bought the house, but we wanted it so bad. We went for it. It was kind of dropped in our lap. And so, you know, again, you don't get paid a lot in Florida.
Yeah.
So I was working a lot with not really getting, I think my highest paycheck off of like being, working the 7 days on and getting called in a lot was like $1,600 for the 2 weeks. And like, that's a lot for the amount of call. That's not a lot for the amount of call I was taking. And going
that's not a 40-hour work week. Yeah. You know, that was like you working your ass off.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely.
Okay, so here's another funny story about the finances, and then we'll move on to the next part. So just to kind of put in perspective of like, this was one of the, I think for a lot of people, they want to start traveling for a lot of different reasons, you know, just to get out there, to explore, to work in different places. But a lot of times people want to make more money, right? It's a perk of being a traveler. Most of the time you're going to make more money, most of the time, than you do working full time. And so for us, this was a huge driver because we clearly were not in a good financial place, and especially to support what we really wanted to do, right? So we're like, but we had a commute. So we had this little, we called it the Christmas account. And every paycheck, it would draft out a certain amount and it would go into this fund. And Erran and I were like, okay, for Christmas, we're going to have this magical fun. We're going to we'll go shopping. We'll do like all these things, which is so funny. That's how we thought. Like we were so into things back then, which now.
Things are fine for some people.
Yeah, right. No, nothing wrong with that. But we're so like, care less at this point. But anyways, we were like, let's have a big
experiences
Christmas.
Are better.
yeah, always about experience. Like for Christmas, we bought ourselves ticket this year. We just bought ourselves tickets to go see Tony Robbins in LA, which is like a lifelong dream. And so we're going to go do that. And that's our Christmas present instead of gifts, right?
And maybe Kim's birthday too.
And like my birthday and like yours.
Yeah.
It's like all wrapped into one. But so anyways, every single week we would drive to this Christmas fund. It was the Community First Bank in Jax Beach. We didn't even live at the beach. We lived like 5 miles away. We would drive to that bank and we would take out that money every single week because we needed it for like bills, pizza,
we overdrafted
food,
our account
cigarettes,
for pizza, yeah.
all of the things.
All the great choices we were making. But the point is come Christmas time,
we
had like $50 in there.
But it was just so, because we were like, we're so responsible and we're putting money away and it's going into the special account. But like legit, every week we would go and like, what is it called?
No.
When you take money out of the machine.
Yeah, when you take money out of the machine.
Deposits.
No. Withdrawals.
Yeah. Withdrawal. Okay. Anyways, so we were not in the best place financially, so that was a huge factor for us.
So again,
right,
now we just said in 2011, it was like late 2011, we were thinking about this, and then about 2012, it was about May or something.
Okay.
Something like that.
So how we found out about travel.
Yeah.
This is the cool part. Okay, so all of these things are happening, right? Erran and I are having these big talks, big dreams, making vision boards, doing all the things, right? We're like, we know we want more, what are we doing, right? We just stayed open. So all this is happening in the background. And we're 5 years into our career. So just to kind of put that out there, that's one reason why Erran and I go to colleges to speak to students, because a lot of people don't even know traveling is an option, right? We were 5 years in and we had no idea we could start traveling.
Especially for allied health and radiology.
Right, exactly.
Right? You always hear nursing, but
right.
Radiology, allied health, like we can travel for a career.
Yeah, we had no idea it was like a thing.
Right.
So anyways, this is a long story, good story, but long story short, I took call on a random weekend. I never used to take call on the weekend at this other facility. And I decided to pick up call because, money. And we're at home.
But she was pissed about it.
I was so fucking pissed, you guys. I was like so angry. So we're sitting at home, the pager goes off, like the dreaded sound, that damn pager. I'm like, all right. So I go to work and I walk in and I'm like pissed off, like, Saturday, here I am. And I go in and it was a girl working that was PRN that like I hadn't seen in a really long time. Hadn't seen her in years. And I was like, oh my God, hey, what's up? Like, what are you doing here? And it's funny because when I walked in, she's like, I'm so sorry, but like, I actually got all caught up. I don't even need you. Like, you came in, I clocked in, I made some money, but like, there was no work for me to do, which is like so random, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not random, right? The universe is always working in our best interest, right? It always has our back. So I sit down, I'm like, cool, like, what's up? Like, let's catch up. I haven't seen you in so long. How are you? And she's like, dude, I'm going to start traveling with my family. And I'm like, what the fuck is traveling? My ears like perked. And I'm like, what is this?
Speaking of ears, if you have little ears, this one's dropping F-bombs.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
It's my intention to not, but we'll see. Okay. It's with love and passion.
Yes.
So I'm like, tell me all the things. I was so excited. Never heard about this. So she's like, I haven't started yet, but this is kind of the gist. This is what I'm thinking. And we're going to start in a couple of months. I'm like, whoa, this sounds so cool. So I like run out of there. I'm jazzed. I'm like driving home and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is like the coolest thing ever. We could travel. We could do all the things.
It fit the boxes of what we...
all the boxes, right? But I'm like, is Erran going to think I'm like batshit crazy that I want to sell our house, quit our jobs, leave all of our stuff because you can't travel with all of your stuff and like go jump into this world that we know nothing about? Like he's going to think I've lost my marbles. But I was like really excited about it. And so I get home, like, Erran, let's go back in our backyard and have a chat. And so he sits on his swing and I sit in my chair and I'm like, let me tell you about traveling. And so I tell him the things that Jen told me, and he's like, let's do it. Like, let's do it. Let's give this thing a try, right? Like, it felt like our prayers had been answered. It was like, this is what we want, a chance to like travel all over the country, have time off, work in 3-month increments, and essentially, from what we heard, right?
Make a lot more money.
Why not, right?
And that was the thing. And it wasn't like, it was making a lot more money and not having to take all the call.
Yes.
Right? So I could just work from 8 to 5 and come home and just be done.
Yes.
And like not have to take a lot of call, and I'm still making more money than I was making, like almost double from what we had heard at the time. So you can understand the excitement that we had going into this. And it was just like, yes, because then I was actually really excited because not only the freedom, but really just getting to explore the US. And like, you know, for me, I really just wanted to be open to like learn something new. I was from a small town, and like I really just wanted to absorb as much as I could, meet new people, listen to people's stories, hear how they did the things. I used to tell Kim that I wanted to go knock on all these doors in the very nice part of town and just ask people what they did for a living, just because I wanted to know. Like, I want to know different routes to take and different things that maybe I never was exposed to. And maybe it fits what I'd love to do, and as a passion project or something. Yeah,
and it's interesting because we were ready to take this adventure, right? We were excited, but on paper, we sat down, obviously, and we went over the list, right? We made a pros and cons list, and it literally made absolutely no sense for us to start traveling.
Or how could we?
From a financial standpoint, okay? Because we didn't have any money. We had this house now that it wasn't the best market. So how do we get out from underneath this house? It's filled with stuff. What do we do, right? We didn't even know the first steps to take, and we didn't have the money to get us going, to get us to the contract, right?
And on top of that, professionally, I was the lead of the department, like I said, but we were building a cath lab into IR, and I was heading up that project. So they had sent me for trainings and like supplies and like figuring out all this stuff. So I was like the head of that at the time. And then it was like, what do we do? Like, we're just gonna up and leave?
And leave our jobs that at the time, and still are, I mean, they were great jobs, and there was no coming back to them. So we were giving up our jobs that we couldn't return back to if this travel thing didn't work out, because there were already gonna be people sliding into our position, right? They were desired positions. So we had no plan B. It was like, this better work.
All in, baby.
Or what are we gonna do? And so going back to, this is I think an important piece to take away for any time you do something new, or anytime you're stepping out of your comfort zone or taking a big leap, is to really tap in to your intuition, to your gut, right? Because us starting to travel 6.5 years ago, 7 years ago, was not a logical decision. It did not make any sense. People thought we were batshit crazy.
Our families, like
everybody,
people closest
what
to
are
us.
you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Our jobs, what are you doing, right? Like, everybody thought we were crazy. Financially, we had nothing. We had no backup plan. It didn't make sense, but we knew in our soul, like, we just knew that feeling that we felt in the backyard of just like, oh, like it was this burning, like, but we have to. But I know that it's going to work out because I feel so strongly in my gut and my heart, whatever you want to call it, that this is our next step. And so we took that leap, a leap of faith. We leaned into that faith and that trust because it didn't make any sense. And so sometimes as travelers, I think it's so important to listen to that sometimes, because not everything is black or white and not everything may make the most logistical sense. But if you know that you want to do something, listen to that, because it was the best freaking decision we ever made. I'm so glad we didn't let anybody listen to all the fears everybody else had, and even the fears we had ourselves, that we were able to move through that and decide to do it anyways.
Absolutely. And I think too, like, you always hear people that have had like near-death experiences, they come out on the other side with this like renewal of life, and they want to like relive different things and like really make the most out of it. Like, in a way, we were almost having that like internal death feeling of just like, man, there's so much more out there. What can we find? And traveling, from what we understood and all the research that we did after, we hit that refresh. It gave us that refresh button to really align our lives in a way that we wanted to go. And that from here on out, we're going to wipe away all the excess stuff that we have mentally, physically, and like around in our house, and just start really aligning in the direction that we wanted to go. And traveling gave us that.
100%. And here's the kicker. When we first started, we didn't know anybody else who was traveling. My friend hadn't even started yet.
Not in radiology at all.
We didn't know any Facebook groups. There was no traveler school, right?
Right.
We didn't know anything.
No pneumatic hair.
Yeah, we didn't know about any of this stuff. And so we were jumping in blind. We didn't know there was anything to know. We didn't know, we didn't have a support system. Like, I wish that we would have just had someone to ask questions to give us some inside scoop, because it would have helped us feel less overwhelmed, I think.
Right.
And because we didn't know all this stuff, which is great, because now you don't have to, right? Like, now there's so many resources out there. You don't have to jump in blind. But we did, and we made a lot of mistakes doing that.
Right.
But we also learned a lot of lessons that way too. But we just went for it. We didn't know anything. We just like cold called a company. We're like, hi, we'd like to start traveling. I do not recommend doing that. Please don't do that. We're like, we'd like to start. Thank you. And like, that was it. And then we just like freaking went for it.
Well, there was this little thing that I remember. I would walk out every week and I would call the recruiter that we had. I was like, are you sure that this is real? Like, are you sure? Like, I'm about to like put a good job up. Like, are you sure I can keep traveling? Because all Kim and I knew is we might have one assignment, but that could be it.
We don't know what's after that.
We had no idea. And it wasn't like we had this financial backing that was going to be like supportive if we couldn't find one.
Yeah.
So we like seriously dove in.
Oh yeah, and we had to borrow money, again, being transparent, to get to where our first assignment was in Atlanta, and so we were in Jacksonville to Atlanta. So to get to Atlanta, we had to borrow money from my stepdad. So I'm so grateful to have. But like, that's where we were, right? We
also cashed in our 401ks because
to sell that freaking house.
To sell the house, because under the inspection we had to replace all the siding in the house. We had to replace so much stuff. And it was like, man, like this really stinks. But again, it's like when you feel that gut pull and you know it's the right move, you figure you can, like, we were like, man, we'll be making more money. We'll just double our 401ks after that. Like, it was there for us, right? Yeah. And we utilized every asset we had. The resources
we had to start this.
Talk about starting from scratch.
We were literally starting from scratch.
Yeah.
But we did it. So as soon as I came home that day, I mean, it was a good solid couple of months. And in that month, like, we said, we're traveling. We put the house on the market. We told our jobs that we were going to be leaving. Like, we started going through our stuff, putting stuff in storage, getting rid of stuff. Like, we started the process. And a couple of months later, August 2012, we were out.
Yeah.
We got in the car and we left Jacksonville. And it was the best feeling in the world. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we were going to miss our friends and our family, but we were leaving everything we knew. We were going into the unknown. We had no idea what we were getting into. We left all of our comfort zones, and we had each other, and I'm so grateful for that.
And Mimi LaRue.
But we didn't know what we were getting into, and it was like, see ya, like all our comfort zones, all our friends, all our family, everything we know, see you later, and like, hope this works out.
Right.
And we just like did it. We fucking did it.
No, and that's, I did want to say, for all of you seasoned travelers out there, I had 2 homes at the time. So we sold the home we were living in, but we still had our home down the street that was our tax home.
Exactly, which is important when you
very important.
Get out the tax home. We're not going to talk about that now, though. Okay, so another side note too is that one of the lessons that we learned, which we'll get into in a second here, but is that you don't need as much stuff as you think that you're going to need. When we left Florida, Erran had a pickup truck that was like his sister's truck.
I always called it my sister's truck because I could see over the top of it. And at the time in Florida, I feel like a guy shouldn't be able to see over the top of the roof of the truck, or it's not a real truck. It
was a girly truck.
That's where I was at the time.
And then I had this massive Altima. It was like the biggest car I've ever like seen in my life. It was a freaking beast. So it was like bigger than Erran's truck. So we leave Florida. Erran is towing my car, which my car could have probably towed your truck.
Yeah.
And both cars are packed to the brim with hot pink tubs filled with God knows.
I think this Santa came with us for the first time.
We had all of our Christmas stuff. We had like board games. Like, God, I don't even
board
know.
Games are good.
I know, but it was like all this unnecessary stuff. Like 2 cars.
I literally
packed.
The worst part is I think I brought every extension cord I ever had because who knows when we might need that.
Right.
It was at that point we just didn't understand what we might need on the road because we've never done this before.
Yeah.
So we just tried to bring everything. Obviously, we didn't have any furniture. We let that go pretty easy. But all the little miscellaneous stuff, we tried to bring that with us.
Yeah.
And It was nuts. I literally had never towed anything in my life before.
Oh my
and so
God.
I didn't know that you couldn't back up. So I ended up backing up with Kim's car. We hear this big boom.
God.
Like it pops off the wheel, and now it's a Sunday and there's no places open. We're in like
Podunk, Georgia,
like Tallahassee area, like right outside. Driving out, I can see the flaps on the back.
The
like
cars
the car
like falling
is like,
off.
oh my, it was.
We'll talk about another like miracle moment is that there was nothing open. We were not on like a main road because we had just come from Tallahassee, so we were taking the back roads up, and so we were literally in like a Podunk, Georgia area. So I'm trying to call places, there's no service, and we're like, the car is falling off. Like, what are we gonna do? We're freaking out. We're like crying, and somehow I ended up getting service. Called this. It was like
a lawnmower place.
Yeah, but they have like a
U-Hauls.
U-Haul thing. The guy just happened to be there.
Checking the office.
Yeah, and he was like, come over, I'll help you guys out. And he was like our angel. Like he saved, because I don't know what we would have done.
I didn't know how to fix it.
We were freaking hot messes, dude, rolling out.
But that was a lesson for my next time is I was like, I'm going to learn everything I need to learn for this hitch.
Yeah.
So that way if something ever happens, I can fix it. Because
Yeah.
it was like, all right, so we're going to learn lessons as we go.
Totally.
It's like, cool.
Yeah, 100%. So lesson here, travel light, travel simple. 6.5 years later, we have a Toyota Camry.
Everything fits.
We got a roof bag and everything fits, okay? You do not need that much stuff. You never need as much as you think you do, but it did take us years to like whittle things down and to really kind of see what we truly needed and what was valuable to us on the road that was worth lugging around every place that we went.
Well, and you realize too, when you go, like when you have your home, like you're here, you know everywhere to go in your hometown. So it's like, It's not about getting out and exploring because you've done that all your life. So you have your things at your home to make yourself feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
So when you go on the road, you go to a new place, you want to go out to dinner, you want to go walk around, you want to go explore everything the town has to offer. And so you're not really spending that much time in your home. So you want it to feel comfortable, but you also realize, and not diving down a rabbit hole, but you can rent furniture. We've done it for 6 years. It's phenomenal. We just rent little pieces here and there. Have a bed, have a couch,
couple those things. Bins as an entertainment
use the
center.
bins that you have as like, put a nice sheet over it and like use that as an entertainment center. You figure out these things to save the most money and have the most magical experience on the road.
And have it be simple to pack up and move every 3 months. Because
Right.
as a traveler, that's what you do. You pack up and you're moving every 3 months. So
that's when you realize
oh my God. And then we're like driving and he had the bins in the back of his truck. And so if we stopped in a hotel, because we did that to Wisconsin too, we would have to like lug these freaking bins in the hotel.
Into the hotel room.
You guys, don't do that. Make it simple for yourself.
Yeah.
Okay? Just saying. All right, so here we go.
So
Let's wrap this up.
now we're on the road. Traveling has just, in the 6.5 years, I was just getting my haircut today. Thank you very much.
Doesn't he look handsome? I love when you get your haircut.
Anyway, and
So fresh.
we started talking, and usually I don't like to talk during my haircuts because it's like my time to relax.
Yeah.
But we had a really good conversation, and the girl was asking me, she's like, where's the farthest place you've driven? Do you guys drive everywhere? That's crazy. And so she was like just asking all these questions, and I was telling her about the road trips and all the places we've been, and it's just like, wow, like traveling has just brought us to some like really cool places, some really cool experiences. And, looking at it in hindsight, just all the places we've been, it's a really good thing as a traveler to really not just be focusing on the future, but really looking at all the experiences you've had.
Oh my God.
Because it's just beautiful. I mean, it really is.
We have, okay, here, put it in perspective.
Uh-oh, the prop again.
The vision board's back. All right. San Francisco. This was 10 years ago, like when we first got together, we did this vision board. San Francisco has always been a dream, right? To go to California, to drive down the Pacific Coast Highway, right? To be in California. Like we were saving to go to San Francisco for like years. And like we'd like put like $5 away, then we'd have to like take it back, right? We were saving to go. It was like such a dream. And then as a traveler, to be able to go and live there, right? Like we lived there. We lived for a period of time on the Pacific Coast Highway. We used to drive down it every single day. We used to run down it. Like, oh my God, like what an amazing experience to like live in San Francisco, to live in that area was like, wow, like it's just so cool to be able to have these experiences and to get to dabble, right? Like to dabble in all these places. And then a lot of times travelers will find a place that they love so much and they want to stay. You know, they want to stay. We fell so hard in love with San Diego. And we got to live there for 5 months. I think it was almost 6 months. Like, that's our dream. Like, one day we would like to go back there and live, because it like was so magical, and to be able to have that experience is like, that's what traveling is. Like, we've been to some pretty freaking awesome. I
want to answer this question.
Sarah, I'm not even looking.
Sarah, if you're still on, she said, I'm a cardiovascular technologist with a few years of experience. I have been having this urge, hang on to that.
Listen to that, girl.
To start traveling, but I'm so worried and terrified that I might be making the wrong decision. I'm afraid I will regret leaving my permanent, comfortable, full-time job, family, and everything behind. How do I know I'm making the right decision? I don't know if I'll be able to handle traveling. That is a very common fear. It's a absolutely phenomenal question. And it's almost like you asking that, it's figuring out how you felt when you asked that. Like what triggered, right? What triggered when you said that? I know fears will always come into play. They'll always try to keep you safe. They'll always try to, keep you still in what you have.
Yeah.
And if you're having this urge, you really need to get clear on that urge, because like we said, it didn't make any sense for us to travel. We were scared to death. I don't know if you were on at the beginning. We were like, what are we doing? Our family was like, what are you doing? But we knew in our guts, if we want to live this life that we truly want, and we got clear on those things that we wanted to search for, and we were not able to do that where we were. And how important was that? And so that's when we evaluated and said, traveling is it. And whatever happens, it's an experience that we can learn from, we can grow from. And again, like we say, the worst thing that can happen, you come back, you might not have the same job, but you can go back and it'll work out in the way it's supposed to go. And that's how we feel. And that's
can I say something?
Yeah.
You can, the beauty of this in anything that you do in life is that you can always circle back, right? You can always circle back. You can always come back, right? What's the worst case scenario? Oh, you don't like travel. Oh, it's not for you. You can come back to where you started. Now, granted, Erran and I couldn't have gotten the same jobs or the same house or any of that, but we could have come home. We could have gotten a full-time job somewhere, right? So get in that urge, that desire, that gut feeling, that inner knowing, whatever the term is that you use, it is there for a reason, right? Our desires are placed on our heart for a reason. They are there for us to walk out in this life. They are not there just for shits and giggles, right? They are there for you to listen to. So if you have that feeling, and this is for traveling, for whatever it is you want to do, if you have that feeling, always honor it, always listen to it, because that is guiding you to what your next step is. And all the other stuff will work itself out, because when you can trust that you're operating from that place and you say yes to it, everything else works itself out. Everything shows up for itself, right? Everything will always work out. It may not be exactly the way you thought, right? But it will always be what's there to best serve you next. So learning to listen to that place, and traveling is such an amazing adventure. It's a beautiful, beautiful experience, and there's tons of great jobs. Did you say she was a cardiac sonographer?
Yeah, that's a hot travel job.
There's so many great echo jobs, and you're gonna meet people on the road, right? Usually, like, sonographers are they're younger. They're not always, but they're fun. Like, it's usually a great group. Like, I've worked with some really cool people. You'll find friends. You'll have experiences, and you'll open up in ways you never thought possible.
Well, right, and then right now that feels big, right? Because you're in your comfort zone. You're in your world that you know, and the world out there seems huge. And how could I ever have the same thing that I have here? And believe me, 6.5 years and still going. Like, now it's like, man, I can't wait to go out there and see what else I might not know, or see what else I can experience. And it's really a beautiful journey. And the thing that you have going for you is there's so much information out there. And a lot of times the fear is just not really understanding how it works. And now there's so many groups out there. We have Traveler School. There's so many things that you can do that fit you, and find the group that fits you, that fits your personality, that fits, who you really resonate with, and learn from them, ask questions. And then the fears start to go down, and they start to be like, okay, I can do this. Like, I want to do this, and really get clear with yourself. Put yourself in a closet somewhere and close it, and just really get clear on what it is that you're looking for. Not only like right next steps, but down the road.
Yeah.
And if it fits, then it fits. If it doesn't, still listening to your gut and being like, there's too much of a pull, I gotta experience this.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Hopefully that helps.
And one reason why we created Traveler School is because it is what we wish we would have had what we wish we would have had when we started traveling 6.5 years ago, because we didn't know anything, right? And that's where the overwhelm comes from, is the uncertainty, the unknown, the fears of like, what are the first steps to take? What do I need to know? How do I set myself up? Because traveling is a different world. It's a different world, period, than full-time. The way we get paid, the way finding housing, right? Getting into new jobs, first days, interviews, resumes, all of that is so different than what we know as full-time workers, right? And so that's where the fears are coming in, because it is different. And so if we would have had something like Traveler School that, again, is step-by-step, lesson by lesson, everything that you could ever know and want, all you have to do is sit down, push play,
have a glass of wine,
and know we got you, right? Like we've done all the heavy lifting, the hard work for you, and you can just learn, right?
Yep.
And so when you learn and you're prepared and you know the things and you're like, damn, I got this down, the logistical stuff, it opens up more space for the excitement, for the adventure part, for the planning your first assignment, where you're gonna go, what you're gonna explore. That part gets bigger because the fear lessens, because you have a lot of the logistical stuff down.
And you'll have the fears, but that voice gets really quiet.
Yeah.
And the excitement starts to get a little louder and a little louder and a little louder. And then all of a sudden you don't hear that voice. It might sneak up on you, and that's good to evaluate and be like, well, what's my fear? What do I need to learn more before I go? So. And
the last thing I want to say about that too is like, anytime we step out of our comfort zone, whether it's traveling or anything else, like if you're not stepping out of your comfort zone, if you're not doing things where you don't feel a little bit uncomfortable, you're just staying stagnant. Like you're just staying settled. You're just doing what you know already to do. Like that's not growing. That's not life. That's not living. That's boring, right? Mm-hmm. So you should be feeling uncomfortable, because that means you're up leveling. Like you're learning, you're growing, right? So that's totally normal, and you're going to feel that way when you're making a big decision. But know that once you get into it and you get into that momentum, that becomes your new normal. And it doesn't feel scary anymore. You're like, oh.
Well, then you start to actually use that as excitement and say, I need to feel this again, because I came out on the other side.
Yeah. But just know that all of the feels are totally normal, and that's why we have communities like this where we can support each other, we can ask questions, we can learn, grow, and hear each other's stories, because everybody feels this way too, right? Okay.
Yeah. So hope that served you.
So let's just get into our lessons and stuff, I think.
Yeah,
right?
I wanted to say too, like just real quick, on one thing that I really loved about travel, and again, it's what I look for, is not only like professional development, but my own development, and really like seeing what it is, because I always wanted to have like a passion project outside of like work.
Yeah.
And so traveling, I always would, work so much, and I'd be on call, and then it was just that constant pull towards going to work. And then Kim was doing like 16 hours, and then just crazy shifts. And so we never really felt like we had time, right? Yeah. So time, freedom, like those are the most priceless things that you can have as an individual. And traveling really does give that to you.
Yeah.
And so it allowed us to sit and explore things like within us that really lit us up. And this is what I love the most, because I didn't really know. I was a sports guy all my life. That's it. That's all I knew. Sports, school, that's it. So it's like anything outside of that, I never explored. And so I always felt that tug to do that. And, from the time we traveled, I learned to play the guitar. We started writing. Kim and I started a blog.
God.
It was called Spider Pug
Lifestyle.
Right.
Okay, it was our travel blog.
Right.
But what name is that?
That's hilarious. Spider Pig, Spider Pug.
I know.
Anyway.
So random.
But it was like then, we really got into, we were always into fitness. And so I started exploring different gyms with Kim. We started doing different things. We met these inspirational guys that really took us under their wing. We decided we want to open a gym. We really explored that stuff. We personal trainers. Kim's a health coach.
Yeah. We started doing, became like kettlebell enthusiasts. And so we started doing kettlebell circuits around the Bay Area. We'd go to different parks and we'd have gatherings and we'd do workouts and stuff. And then we'd have people coming over to our house and we'd do trainings. We've done so many different things. And because and some things stuck and some didn't, right? Like we're like, no, we don't really want to do this. We don't want to like live here or be pinned again. If we open a gym, we're pinned again. We don't want that, right? But it allowed us to explore. It allowed us to be curious, and it allowed us the time to really try different things. And I think that's honestly, hands down, besides the whole travel part and living in different places, like that time and space to explore different things has opened up the world for us. And a lot of those things didn't stick, but the one thing that we took away is that we love teaching. We love helping people, guiding people, connecting with people, sharing our stories to help inspire other people, guide other people. Like, we just love that so much. And so that led to us doing trainings for healthcare travelers, right? And then doing traveler school and our group with all of our trainings and going to schools and talking to students and going to TravCon and speaking on stage. Like, it opened up this whole world, but the traveling piece gave us that extra time and space to explore the things that felt good in our heart and give them some time to see what they turned into. And I think that's really cool.
Well said. I mean, that was one of my biggest things, and you just said it really well.
Yeah.
It really did. It opened us up, and it just gave us that light freedom to really just have the opportunity to explore whatever it is. And then you're also being exposed to people. You're talking to new people. You hear their passion project. You hear what they do.
Yeah.
You hear things that light them up, and you're like, wow, that resonated with me.
Totally.
Maybe I should explore that.
Well, and last year we worked 6 months. 2 years ago, I guess.
In 2017.
Okay, what? That's crazy. We took 6 months off, and we went to Southeast Asia for 4 months. We the rest of the time, we were just off. We had 6 months off to live life and to experience what we wanted, and so much came out of that time, which is a different story. But so traveling does give you the freedom and the space, because you can work 3 months and you can take 3 months off if you want. You can work back-to-back contracts and just save all of your money. You can really do whatever you want, but it offers that freedom for you to choose what feels good to you based off what your needs are. And I think that's a really, really cool thing that traveling does. Yeah. So anyways, okay. And let's just get into the lessons. Because I feel like
I was gonna say, where we talked about is what we talked about at the beginning. That house that we bought is 5 miles up the road right now. We're in Jacksonville, in our hometown. That
yard that we've been talking about this whole time.
5 miles up the street.
Every time Erran and I would come and see family, we would drive by that house, and it still brings up the feels of just wow, that's where shit went down.
Look how far we've come.
That's where it got real. That's where life started for us, essentially, because that's when we took that leap and really started creating the life that we wanted to live and broke out of that box, essentially. There wasn't anything wrong, but we just kind of felt like we had settled for this life that we thought that we wanted, or thought that's what we were supposed to do. But in reality, it was the exact opposite of what we truly desired and how we wanted to live. Right? And so we were able to break free of that and start fresh. And so it's right up the street, and we do drive by it from time to time and just sit and stare. They're probably in there peeking out the windows.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Sorry, cool. Sarah said I was listening the whole time. Thank you guys so much for answering my questions. You both are the best. Personal questions from Susie. How much did y'all have to save to be off for 6 months?
How much did we save? We saved
over 20.
We saved over $20,000.
We also don't live life simply.
Well, that's not true. Actually, we live life very simply.
You know what? I'm just saying, when it comes down to we didn't go overseas and stay in hostels.
Right. Here's the thing. We saved that much because we wanted to just have the total freedom, and we wanted to be able to cover our bills. We didn't know how much time we were going to take off. We thought we were going to take years off. We weren't sure. And so that money was we just kept saving and saving and saving. And granted, we did have to pay some stuff to leave Seattle that were unexpected. So I would say we really started with probably $15,000.
But then again, that looks differently to everybody.
And now, we're a couple, first of all, and we went to Asia, and we were there for I always say 4.5 months or so, traveling around, flying around. We absolutely did not, it's cheap over there, but we did not, like Erran said, we weren't living in hostels, we weren't eating street food every day, like we were like enjoying it. Then we came back and we were also in the States too for a while. So
for a couple months.
Yeah. So about $15,000. We spent more than that. We ended up spending more than that.
But it leads to the point that, like, you know, for the first 4 years of traveling, Kim and I knew that we wanted that freedom, that we wanted to be able to like just save in one contract. If both of us were working a contract, that money we saved, we could take off an extensive amount of time. And so we really worked hard for the first 4 years to get our bills down to nothing, to pay off everything. So that way, you know, our bills were maybe, you know, without rent, like almost less than $1,000 a month, because we just paid everything off to where we got that. But it took 4 years of like solid work. And so everybody's financial situation is different. I mean, it took the first 2 contracts just to pay back the money that we had spent to even start traveling. So,
well, and we went to Atlanta and blew all the money we made.
We were like rock stars there. Like,
it was our first contract. We had never had freedom like that, money like that. Like, we were just like living life, which was fun for us. That's what we needed at the time. But anyways, but that's a really great question too, because it's a big one.
So Ronnie says, what are some things you recommend to always bring with you or invest in when you start traveling that helps make the living/traveling process easier? Kitchen gadgets, car gadgets, etc. One thing I can answer is in our file resources section of Travel, Life, Freedom, and Scrubs. If you're not in that group, we have a list of things that we bring with us all the time. Kim and I cook a lot. We eat a lot at home.
Kitchen stuff's super important.
Kitchen stuff's super important. Now we've whittled that down to where we bought coffee pots, like small, like, you know, minuscule coffee pots, like different contracts because it didn't fit in the car. One big thing that I would suggest that we just found out about, that I wish we would have had, was a roof bag. That thing was amazing, and that's actually on our website. We have resources for travelers and a traveler store on our website, kimanderng.com, and we just listed out things that we that we use.
Yep, exactly. So go into the Facebook group, and we have a whole list of everything we take with us every time. That's a non-negotiable. And for us, a lot of it is kitchen stuff, because that's real. That and clothes. We bring kitchen stuff and clothes. That's pretty much it.
And even with the clothes, we love spending money at Dick's Sporting Goods. But
in Atlanta, we did.
But little things like we went to Wisconsin. We're from Florida. Then we went across to California and all this, in Seattle and different places like that where it was cold. And so what we do is we just spent, you know, a decent amount of money and bought like those North Face jackets that are like down or whatever, like, but they fold up into like balls. And so you could throw that on with some Under Armour has these thermal underwears that are like phenomenal, and they're thin and light, and it's absolutely great. And those fold up too. So I was able to be warm in jeans and a t-shirt and my North Face, even in negative 22-degree weather.
And then easy to pack
a cool beanie. And like I would just rotate through my stuff and keep my normal clothes, but just did Under Armour thermal underwear and a North Face jacket, and I was golden.
So there's that's like an easy way to pack for like cold.
Because I know we get a lot of questions on that, like how do you do cold to hot? Whatever.
And we also have a rule. We're like minimalist at heart in a sense, not minimalist, but we live simple, and we only bring things into our life that have value, right? And if we don't have junk, we don't have things, right? We already did that with the whole house thing, and we learned the hard way. I didn't learn the hard way, but we learned what we wanted and what we didn't. But as a traveler, only bring in when you get on the road, right? It stops you from buying mindless stuff, right? Because you're like, I don't have room for it. Like everything that we own fits in our Camry. Okay, so we don't have room for any extra stuff. So you really have to look at that. Like, do I really want this? Like, what is this really gonna add, right? What is this gonna add? And so even with clothes, if we bought something new, we would try to get rid of something that we already had that we hadn't worn, right? Because you really have to be mindful of how much stuff you're lugging around with you. Shoes is a big thing that probably takes up like most of the room. I have lots of pairs of shoes. I try to be conscious of it, but girl likes her shoes sometimes, right? Anyway, all right, let's do our lessons.
So lessons that we've learned in 6.5 years. I do have one thing here, Scott. Having the best time with my wife, as we are empty nesters and we have been traveling for years, for a few years full time now. Our tax home is in Utah, and we pay shared expenses with our daughter. Apparently Siri wanted to talk. And I just turned 60. My wife is 52, and leave. And at this age, it's kind of exciting. We were seeing the places we've always wanted to see, but never really had the time or money to do until now.
Right.
Traveling is great, and I hope to do it for another 5 years before I can retire. Having served 23 years in the Navy, that definitely helps us to travel with insurance. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you for your service, by the way. That's awesome. And yeah, you have that's an awesome scenario.
Hashtag winning all the way around.
Travel winning.
I love it. Yeah. And what else I love about travelers is like, it's this really cool community because you have people that are empty nesters that are starting to travel, right? They're older and they're like, their kids are gone, they're grown, they're in college, and now they're like off, like doing their thing and like living their travel life. Then there's people who are new grads that are like right out of school that start traveling, right? And then there's people, I mean, I guess you and I would be considered.
We're elder millennials.
We are elder millennials, yeah. But it's like all like different walks of life, right? And it serves everybody in its own way based off what you're looking for and what you're trying to get out of it, right? Which I love. Okay, so we're gonna each share the biggest lesson that we've learned over the last 6.5 years, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you want to do?
Yep.
Okay. There's so many lessons. Literally could go on and on and on. We should just do like a little chat about it.
Yep.
But I think the biggest one for me, the biggest thing that I've learned is that it's not just about the physical journey, it's about the self-growth journey, the internal journey that you go on. And when we started traveling, I was so excited to travel, right? To move to different places, to see the country, to see the world. I was so stoked about that. And that was really like my burning desire. And you get to do that, which is amazing. But I wasn't expecting to grow so much as a person, right? Like I am absolutely not the same person I was, not even a little bit, 6.5 years ago, in the best possible way. And traveling really does, like we talked about this before, but it lets you be curious with yourself. It lets you explore yourself, right? It lets you like peel back the layers of yourself and get to know yourself on so many levels because you're uncomfortable in a lot of situations, right? And so that brings stuff up to look at. And also because you're able to explore different parts of yourself with less judgment because nobody knows you, right? Nobody knows anything about you, right? Except your travel buddy, if you're traveling with a couple. And that's really cool. And so it gives you this freedom to just get to know yourself on a whole new level and try things on. Oh, I want to try this. I'm going to try this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And like, you can just show up and like be who you want to be and keep what you like, leave what you don't. But I wasn't expecting that. And that's been my favorite part of this journey is the growth that I've had as like a human has been pretty magical.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's exactly what Kim said, but I'll just take it a little step further because, you know, we both have had our own journeys as individuals and as a couple. And kind of what Kim said with the refresh button. For me, it was a little different because it wasn't about just experiencing new things because I always loved to do that. Yeah. What mine was really visiting the deep, dark side of what I had going on inside, my insecurities, and a lot of that stuff came out in new locations in the workplace. And so, you know, using traveling is not a way to run from issues because you get to actually just 3 months and gone. And I might never see these people again. It doesn't matter how I show up.
Right.
Or you can use that. And what I have seen has been the best lesson ever for me personally is I was able to utilize, okay, like, I really got upset when this stuff triggered. I got, you know, really angry when this happened, or I kind of like got into an argument with this person and I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to show up like that. So what was it that triggered me? And going into the next contract, I'm going to work on that. And if I, you know, do really well with that, then I'm going to pick something else that like, you know, I need to work on and I'm going to utilize that, and just kept going on top of each other for different places because you really do get to start fresh, right? You get to be the person, you get to show up and work as the person you want to show up in and be the best version of yourself every single time.
Right. You can't run from your problems, people.
They keep showing up, trust me.
They will show up in California.
Yes.
They will show up in Atlanta.
In different pajamas.
Well, not yet. It's like the lessons keep reappearing for you to learn, and they will keep showing up until you learn, until you work on them, until you get it, right?
And traveling allows that.
Yeah, so if you're working at a full-time job and it's shitty and you want to get away from the people, until you really work on those lessons there, you're going to find those same people in California. Like, they're going to be different faces, but the same thing, and that's a big thing.
And trust me, I found that. Like,
totally.
it chased me from Florida to California. Same issues over and over again, and I was like, man, I got to do something about this. Like,
yeah.
And so it's been the coolest journey that I've loved.
Okay, what we wish we would have known before we left. This is super practical for me. I wish that we would have known that there were things to know, right? So things to know about pay, how to find the right recruiter, what's fair. I didn't even know what that meant. What we should be making to take call. Call is a huge part of what we do in radiology, and because of that, we lost like thousands of dollars, like every contract, like things like that, like the practical stuff. I wish that I would have known to, well, and I guess you only know what you know, right?
Right, you wouldn't even know to ask those questions.
I wouldn't even know to ask those questions. And so really setting ourselves up in the beginning where, again, like, I wish like we would have had something like Traveler School where we could have come home and been so excited, put on, binge watched, drank wine, took notes, and then like, holy crap, this is so awesome. And we know we're doing things right, and we really have the tools to help set us up for success. I wish that we would have done that before we started, because it took us years to kind of like learn the ropes.
Right.
The other thing is living very simple. We've said that a few times. You don't need as much as you think you do. And I know that's a big one. And a lot of this stuff you're just going to learn as you go. And you're going to say, oh, I thought I need this, but I don't. Check it, right?
It never even came out of the bin.
And if it doesn't come out of the bin, you don't need it. That is a lesson learned. Like, we'll be like, oh, we never even use this. And why are we lugging it around the country? Bye. Like, see ya. All right? So you'll learn that as you go. But those are really the two biggest things, the practical things that I wish I would have known.
My practical thing that I really learned was interviews are not the same as when you're full-time.
Yeah.
When you are a traveler, you are interviewing the facility as much as they are interviewing you.
Yeah.
It has to be a good fit. You do not want to put yourself in a situation that is uncomfortable and out of your scope of practice, your norm. Different situations, it's not the same hospital everywhere. They don't do things the same. Every hospital is completely different.
Yeah.
And that is one thing I learned. I got myself into one little situation that wasn't even a big deal, but I do interventional radiology, and I went there and they needed an interventional technologist, and I ended up doing portables in x-ray the entire time, which I hadn't shot x-rays in like 4 years. So it was like, whoa, like I should have asked this on the interview, how their flow is, what do they do, why do they need a traveler? Like, you can ask all these things, and these leads and these managers, they know this is coming. Like, if they've had travelers before, you're gonna ask questions, and even the ones that have never had travelers will actually say, how long have you been doing this? This is incredible. You're asking me more questions. Like, this is awesome. Like, I wish more people would ask these questions during interviews. And it really sets you up for success. As a traveler going in, you feel ready to rock when you walk through that door.
Well, yeah, you're not, it's not like a traditional interview where you're like, I hope they pick me, right? Like, you're there to interview them as well. And you're asking the questions to make sure it's a good fit for you just as much as it is for them, right? Mm-hmm. Never fake it till you make it. Always be upfront and honest about your skill set. If there's things you need to learn, if there's things that you need to be trained on, again, this is like a whole nother story we could do. But that's super important, and the interview is really the place that you're gonna like tackle all this stuff. So yeah, that's a great one.
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you,
and then the last thing is our biggest tips for anyone getting started. So what would be like the biggest takeaway? Again, there's millions, but I think the biggest one for me, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, but is really you're stepping into this new way of living, and it's a really cool way to live. It's a gift really that we give to ourselves and to our life. And so really allowing the adventure to lead you, right? And to let go, not having to control every second of it. I'm a huge control freak, and so that's really challenging for me. And I'm always thinking of like the next step. Oh, where are we going in the next 3 months? What's next? And like trying to kind of control and piece together, which is impossible as a traveler. Sometimes you find a job 2 weeks before you go, a week before you go, right? So really working on not trying to control everything, and going back to what I said earlier, really learning to listen to your gut, because as travelers, we are making decisions all the time. You're never just still. You're making decisions.
Constantly in motion, making decisions. And so you want to learn to listen to that gut, right, when you're making these decisions, because it's always trying to tell you what to do and the right direction to go in. And if something doesn't feel right, it's not right. Period. Do not settle. Do not be pushed in or bullied in by your recruiter or anybody else about you have to take this job, or because what if something else doesn't come along and you got to take it, and blah, blah. It's like, don't be pushed into anything. Don't settle. If it doesn't feel right, it's not right. And learning to listen and make choices from that place within that's always guiding you. That's huge, right? Huge. Absolutely.
And I think that's my biggest thing.
I think, one thing I like to say is Marie Forleo is somebody we watch a lot, big business entrepreneur, awesome. But yeah, she says awesome. That one of her lines is, "In everything is figure outable." Yes. And I think that's one of the biggest tips is everything is figure outable. Even if you don't think it is, if you really want something, everything is figure outable. You will find a way to make it work if you want to put the time in. If you just want to throw your hands up and give up because that's what your fears are telling you to do, that's what you're going to do. But if you really want something, you can figure it out. And I think, lastly, the points that we shared are really important to me, because it shows that when you have a dream and you're clear, anything is possible, right? Yeah. And traveling has given us two major keys to any dream: time and freedom, right? And that's huge. And traveling has also not only, Kim and I have resumes professionally that I'm so extremely proud of. I mean, I've been in some of the biggest facilities in the nation. I've built pediatric IR departments at Stanford Children's. I've done huge things as a traveler on that level. But like professionally, you build a great resume as a traveler. But the coolest thing is you build an amazing life resume. Yeah. And that is something to really take in, that we are so proud of our professional, but I can tell you one thing, I am more proud of my life resume and who I've become and the person that I've become because of what travel gave to me. Oh yeah, I love that, 100%. And the adventures we've had. I mean, how many jobs are there that pay you a shit ton of money to travel, to live in cool cities, to experience things that, gosh, like people dream of. We dreamed of going to California for years, right? Like, gosh, it's such a cool opportunity. It's such an adventure. And if you're thinking about doing it, listen to your heart, really get clear on what you desire, what your why is. Yeah, find the resources. Traveler School, shameless plug, is a great resource for travelers. It gives you everything you need. There's our Facebook group, Travel Life Freedom and Scrubs, is a beautiful support system community. So find your tribe, find your community, find the resources to get you started, and start planning your dream, your life. It's a beautiful, beautiful way of living. Not everybody feels this way. You're talking to people who are obsessed with the travel life. There's also lots of things to think about that aren't. It's not for everybody, which we've done a whole training on this. Also, I'll actually put a link in the comments below if you get off. We talk all about this in the free mini series that we created. It's amazing. It's 10 mini trainings about all the things travel, and we talk a lot about this. So I'll post that for anybody who's interested. It's totally free. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think the last thing. Hold on, before you say your last thing, if you guys have any questions for you guys on, which I just want to say, thank you for being live with us. Yeah, it's on a Saturday. We know it's Saturday. It's a weird time. So thank you for being with us. We appreciate everybody just here showing up, having this chat. If you have any questions, we can answer any question you have. Nothing is off limits. Go ahead and start posting those, because we're gonna wrap it up here. And then what do you want to say? I want to say, just even on top of that, after this training, after this goes off, after the Q&A, if you have any questions, this is Kim and I's passion. Our passion is to help travelers step out and feel comfortable, feel confident, feel excited. And so reach out to us on, if you're in Travel Life Freedom and Scrubs, that's the best place. Message us, get in that group. We have over 3,400, I don't even know, like, of amazing people in that group, like amazing people, amazing travelers that can help you, and they're there to support you. And again, you take that one level higher, and we are here for you. That is what we love to do. And so we have that. And then if you really want to dive deep and you're getting started in the new year, Traveler School is there for you as well. It is amazing, and we would not give you something that we wouldn't have taken. And it is
we created it for ourselves.
Awesome, basically.
And this is the last time this year that we're going to be offering it. So if you want to start traveling next year, this is perfect for you to sign up and start binging. You have lifetime access, right? So once you get in, once you sign up, you get full access, instant access. You can start binging right away. You'll have all the modules, all the bonuses, all the things forever. We are always updating it, so it's current information, and you'll always have access to all the updates, everything that we add to it over the years. And it really is, it's a roadmap. It's a lesson by lesson broken down into mini digestible videos where you can really show up and feel that support around you, feel that value, right? Just know that you are getting everything you need to really start off successful, and the support as well.
Yeah, and then there's
we highly recommend it.
There's an exclusive Facebook group on top of that, just for Traveler School students. And so that is just another like-minded community of support. And we have been, talking with a lot of our students, obviously, and we hear a lot of stories how they've actually made lifelong friends in that group as well.
100%. And
they meet up, and you have this support system around the country of travelers that you can meet up with. And
it's a really friendly, fun group.
It's awesome.
And we do, when you sign up for Traveler School, we have our own private Traveler School Facebook group that's different from the other one. And we do live weekly trainings in that group as we go through Traveler School. So we go through week by week, module by module. We do Q&As, we do module recaps, and we really get in there to make sure that everybody's understanding what they're learning. And we just show up and we have chats just like this, but they're really geared towards the material that we are learning. And it's a really cool thing. We'll put the link in if you guys want to check it out. Enrollment officially starts on Monday, but you can go ahead and check it out, and you can literally start binging right now.
April just said #binge-worthy. We've been saying travel flicks and chill.
Dude. One of like my favorite things, and like I think it's like such a great compliment too. One of the best compliments you could get is that a lot of students that go through it will tell us, like, I am obsessed with watching you guys. Like, we binge watch your stuff, like, because it's good, and again, it's not just us. Like, we're not just like, we're so cool. We do make learning entertaining, I think, because we tell a lot of stories.
Edutainment.
It's edutainment, but I think more than anything, it's like you're excited about what you're learning because you're about to travel, and it's a really exciting time. But yeah, people binge and binge and binge, and you can go through it in a weekend. You could go through it in a year if you wanted. It's totally up to you. But the other thing that the travelers tell us, and this is, what I know to be true, is what you learn inside Traveler School will literally, it will pay for your investment 100-fold, because the travelers that go through it with what they learn, they make thousands of more dollars on their contract. Like, it's so important to understand, negotiating and what's fair and pay. Like, it's so important. And so it always comes back. It's an investment in yourself, investment in your traveling experience. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing that we are honored to share with people. So, and
I think too, if you guys have friends that are talking about travel, please share this video, right? It's easy to share. If you have somebody that's really on the edge or on the border, share it. Just let them know that you saw this, and then you're spreading that forward. And if they dig Kim and I's little group, then it's awesome. Like, we're here for you guys, and we want to be here for as many people that need it. And so,
for sure, dude.
Anyway, I don't see any questions.
Yeah, I don't see any questions. If you're watching the replay, because I know lots of people watch the replay, you can leave a question. We are here. We'll answer your questions. I think that's pretty much it. We're actually getting out of the house today. We're gonna go have some dinner and celebrate with my sister for her birthday.
Yep. Who I think was knocking on the door.
She said she was on her way, but that was like,
they just knocked.
They knocked? Uh-huh. They're here?
Yeah.
All right. we're gonna wrap it up.
Anyway, thank you
guys for being with us. We appreciate you. We're here for you, and we will see you guys.
Yes, ask
later.
away.
Oh, and I'm going to put the link for the mini course below and the link for Traveler School, so you can go check it out in the comments below. Right. Check it out.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, I gotta get the baby out.
Aww.
Sorry.
Oh my god, I have to pee so bad. Oh my god.